Hey everybody, today is Monday, November 13th, and we are ready to do the selection video of these wonderful pups. We're excited to share more about our observations with their personalities and some of their disposition. And so we're going to set the camera down, hold it stationary, and show you these pups one by one. I apologize in advance. I've been battling a little bit of a cold, so I got a little tickle in my throat, and I'll probably cough every once in a while or clear my throat every once in a while, so bear with me as I work through this and talk as my mouth gets dry and does that. But we're just gonna soldier on and get through this video with you and share these wonderful pups. They're doing amazingly well. It's cool enough outside that we're not going to do an outside playtime video in association with this pick video, which we like to do sometimes. But we've spent a lot of time with these pups, and we're excited to share their personalities and dispositions and give you a really good close-up view of all of what they look like at this point right now. I fully expect that the pups are going to kind of fall asleep at my feet when I hold still. These pups are well conditioned to our human interaction with us, and they want to hang out right by us, as you can see these guys are doing. And if I hold still long enough, these guys will walk over to me. They're kind of wondering why I keep walking away from them, but I'm doing that so I can try to get a little video of all of them. So, and some of the pups may crawl off to the corner, which is their favorite area to fall asleep at, but it's also a shadow area in the room, so it's hard to get videos of them there without a big shadow on the pups. So hang tight while I set this camera up and get situated for doing an up-close look at all these wonderful pups. Okay, here we go. I think we're ready to get this party started. Like I mentioned, the pups, I sat down for long enough, they got bored and decided to start taking their naps. So I've got my notes here. I've got everything we need to make a beautiful video of these pups. I've got my GoPro connected to my phone so that I can see, hopefully, what you are looking at and be able to tell what we have to show you and get this done in the most efficient way with letting you preview these pups from wherever you are. So these guys are amazing, and they just love their people time. They love to still eat and snack and play. So we're just gonna start at the top of our list. This is in no particular order, and go through and show them to you one by one. So Miss Pink is over in the corner with yellow and gray, taking a nap over there. So let me stand up and go get her. She's first, ladies first. So, if you recall, Miss Pink, she was a little Miss Princess. Little girl at birth, she was 0.35 pounds, one of the smallest pups at birth, and she has exceeded our expectations with her growth ratios. As of today, she's 3.9 pounds, so she's almost 4 pounds. So a 5-week-old puppy is oftentimes in that 5-pound range. Big pups are upwards of 8 pounds. Those are like the biggest of the big pups we've had. So she's still small compared to the biggest of the big, but at 3.9 pounds and 4 pounds at 5 weeks old, she's bigger by a long shot than some of the smallest pups we've had at 5 weeks old. So she has exceeded our expectations on her growth ratios as of, you know, how big she is today compared to where she was when she was born. And so she is right up there with doing well and staying healthy and everything like that. And we've got Mr. Orange, who's trying to eat my homework on my notes. And so I'm gonna scoot this paper back a little bit. Oh, just about lost the camera there. So, Mr. Orange, I'm gonna steal you for a minute. So just for reference sake, Mr. Orange is about 6 1/4 pounds. He's 6.23 pounds, and Pink is 3.9 pounds. So you can tell Orange is bigger by quite a bit. If I can turn them to back to face you, you can kind of see their difference size-wise that way. Mr. Orange is stretching out, crawling up to give me some kisses, but Pink is just doing great. So she's just a sweetheart. Right now, at birth, I don't think we noticed that she was marked. I thought she was a clear pup, a solid pup, and I'm just going to kind of roll her back a little bit and show you her chest. So her chest still appears to be clear. I'm not seeing any markings on her chest or neck. Her front feet are clear. Her back toes, we are noticing very slightly frosted back toes. So there's just a handful of a few hairs on her back toes. They're lightly colored. She's definitely not a heavily marked foot. You'll see some of the other boys have much more defined marked feet. And so Miss Pink, personality-wise, she is definitely bottom of the totem pole when it comes to the hierarchy. But we do want to say that she absolutely is keeping up with her brothers when it comes to the wrestling matches. So even though she's not, she's at the bottom of the hierarchy, that's primarily because of size, and she just has to give more than she receives just because of that. But at the same time, she can dish it out. So we have seen her tackle her brothers, her bigger brothers that are 50% bigger than her, sometimes almost double her size, and she'll broadside them, push them over, and tackle them, wrestle, do the play fighting, just like the other pups. So even though she's bottom of the totem pole, she is still figuring her way into puppy world and living with big dogs. So she'll still do well with any household compositions. She should assimilate well with other dogs that are bigger than her and things like that, because she's used to being around dogs that are bigger than her and things like that. She shouldn't be just a complete basket case or anything like that when it comes to her personality and getting along well and socializing with other dogs. So that is Miss Pink. And next we're gonna go with Mr. Blue. He's asleep over here to my left, and I'm going to retrieve him. Come here, Mr. Blue. Oh, I get to be the bad guy, I'm sorry. Wake you up from your nap, getting some beauty sleep. And some of these other pups right at my feet are pushing a stand that I have for the camera. So I'm gonna see if I can distract the pups that are kind of pushing right there and have them leave that alone. So Mr. Blue here, at birth, he was 0.99 pounds, and so almost a pound, one of the bigger boys of the group. And right now he is 6.17 pounds. So out of the boys, he is actually the smallest out of the boys. And so he has been passed up by some of his siblings in the growth chart areas. But honestly, all the boys are above average for their size. And so even though he hasn't maintained his growth trajectory, he's definitely on track for continuing to be just a big, strong, healthy boy. So, sorry, I'm still guarding my notes and the camera from the curious other pups that have not gone back to sleep. So, Mr. Blue here, I'm gonna tip him back, let you see him for a second. So, this is the age. I'm just gonna use him as a demonstration for a second. This is the age where they transition out of their newborn pup coat. Can you hear that little bit of whining? So here's Pink dishing it out. So Mr. Red was asleep and Pink decided to use him as a chew toy. That's just an example of personality that we see that's normal. So even though she's not the top of the heap when it comes to her disposition and everything. Oh, I'm losing my camera. Sorry, I gotta fix my base. So it was Mr. Red that was whining there for a second. There we go, I got my camera holder repositioned. So their puppy coat changes after their newborn phase, and it just gets thinner as their body, they get more surface area of their skin, but it doesn't seem like they get a lot more fur follicles growing. So their skin kind of outpaces their fur at this age, and their fur just gets thin and kind of spread out. So sometimes it's hard to see their newborn markings at this age until their adult coat catches up after their skin has finished growing. And so I will try to show you some of their markings that we noted at birth, but they will be harder to see at this stage. So you can watch that newborn video again if you want to see a better representation of some of their markings that will be more prominent with their adult coat as they grow up. So Mr. Blue, he had a very slight neck dot, and that's still barely visible right there. Can you see that at the corner of my finger? So he still has that very slight neck dot. He had a very slight chest marking, and honestly that's pretty hard to see right now, but it will probably be more prominent with his adult coat. And so that is Mr. Blue. Not very many markings on him, very lightly marked. We're not seeing new toe markings or things like that. And then personality wise, Mr. Blue is a middle of the road personality. And let me kind of frame that description to you. With the hierarchy at this age, we see pups that are more confident and more assertive, and some that are a little bit less confident, that are kind of more reserved. They're not anxious, but they're still figuring out this world, and they're a little bit more cautious when it comes to new experiences and new sounds and things like that. We take it pretty seriously to try to work on these pups and do conditioning for them to be prepared for entering new families and new homes and new environments, so that they're just not, they're more capable to adapt in your home. But we find some adapt quicker than others. Mr. Blue is one of the more middle of the road pups. Honestly, we don't have any pups that I would say are basically going to be super reserved or super laid back or anything like that. These pups are all middle of the road or kind of top of the heap when it comes to their personalities and things like that, their confidence and assertiveness. And so Mr. Blue, he is one of the pups that is middle of the road. And so you'll notice during this video that all of these pups are going to be pretty laid back, pretty chill, because we have spent quite a bit of time with them this afternoon, just getting ready for this video. We weighed them, we did a little bit of a nail trim again, and so we've done some extra handling with them to do some of our personality assessment, and all of them have been playing and going and going, and so we have about an hour to an hour and a half preparation before we do these pick videos, and these pups are just tuckered out, they're tired. And so if any of these pups seem like they're more wired than the other ones, it's because they might be waking up from their nap and they're reset and ready to go. It's not that they are necessarily the most energetic of the bunch, it's just they happened to be the first ones to wake up after that. So so that is Mr. Blue. Next we're going to Mr. Red, and he is also laying down here to the left. I will grab him. Okay, Mr. Red, you can be star of the show. You got to be the bad guy again and wake you up for the camera. So Mr. Red, at birth he was 0.81 pounds, and right now he's 6.41 pounds. So he is not the smallest, but about a pound less than the biggest of the pups. So our biggest pup right now is Mr. Yellow at 7.58 pounds. So Mr. Red, he's not small for this age. 6.41 pounds is actually still a really healthy sized boy. So he has what we noticed at birth is kind of a crease marking up in his neck space, and that is still visible right now, even with the lighter coat density right now. So we noticed that he had his chest marking. It's kind of the number 7. I'll see if I can get that here. So that's still visible even with his lighter density coat. And then he had the very lightly marked back left and back right toes, and those are still apparent with this coat condition, and still looking clear on his front paws. So Mr. Red, I would say I'm gonna kind of pre-frame a couple of the other pups with personality and dispositions right now. Mr. Red and Mr. Gray seem to be at the top of the hierarchy right now. They're both pretty even when it comes to their disposition. They're not the biggest pups, but they have found out that even with the pups that are bigger than them, if they assert themselves more, they can get their way more. So Mr. Red here, even though he's not the biggest of the pups, he has found that he can kind of muscle his way around with the other pups, and he's figured that out at this age. So Mr. Red and Mr. Gray are what I would say tied for top of the pack personalities. Gray's a lot bigger than Mr. Red at 7.47 pounds, but Mr. Red has found his place with his siblings. And so he's a confident pup. He likes to assert himself, and just super fun, playful personality as well. So Mr. Red is kind of there at the top of the heap. The other pups are middle of the road, and we're just excited to see some of that play out. So their hierarchy changes over time as other pups kind of figure a few things out. You know, if you want to say that this litter, you know, they're all a wrestling team, and they're a brand new wrestling team, and they're all figuring out their wrestling moves, and some of them are figuring those moves out faster than the other ones, but the other ones will eventually figure it out. And so the hierarchy is subject to change over time as the other ones learn different skills and things like that. But some of these pups have figured a few things out early on, and Mr. Red and Mr. Gray are some of those pups. So just absolute sweethearts at the same time as being these fluff balls of fun. So that's Mr. Red. Next we're going on to Mr. Green, and right now all these pups have crashed right at my feet. So everybody has moved in for the nap. Miss Pink, she's the holdout. She hasn't fallen asleep all the way yet. So I don't have to reach as far, but this is not their normal place for a nap. They like the corner, that's their favorite spot. But because I'm here, they have chosen to hang out by me because we've done a lot of work with these pups and they're very conditioned for their human interaction. So we actually like it when they get to that point where they start falling asleep because they choose to be right by us. So Mr. Green, he is 7.42 pounds. He's right up there in the top 3 size-wise, but he's not the biggest at the moment. So at birth he was 1.05 pounds, good sized boy, but right now he's 7.42 pounds. So looks like family is back from town. Kids and Katie went to town, so they're back, and the dogs outside the puppy room are telling me they're back. So sorry if you hear them barking in the background. Mr. Green, he had a very light neck dot, and that's barely still visible. If I pay close attention, I can still see a very light neck dot. So he had this small dot on his chest, and honestly I'm having a hard time seeing that right now. And we noticed he had a very slight groin marking. I can barely see that right now, barely, with this coat density. As you can see, they get very bald when it comes to their belly area in some places, so that's hard to see. And then his back right toes, we noticed he may have a few light hairs. I am seeing like just a very small handful of some light colored hairs on his back right toes. I doubt you may see those in the camera, but in person I can kind of see those. So Mr. Green, being one of the bigger boys, he is still a middle of the road pup. And when it comes to personalities, honestly, what we're describing with their differences are very, very subtle differences. When you have a strong breeding program like we do, we don't get this huge range of dynamics in their personalities. They're very close in personalities. So, you know, day to day, you might even say there could be a different hierarchy in their personalities. And in some ways that's true. And so when we share our observations with you, we're trying to say this is our overview of the average of all the days we've been observing them for and seeing the differences in them. And so they're very close in disposition and personalities, all of them. And so a middle of the road pup could be the next top of the pack pup a week from now. But this is kind of where they're at the moment. And Mr. Green, he is a lover. You can see I'm getting lots of kisses. Oh yes, lots of kisses. Yes, good boy. So next we've got Mr. Yellow, and he is underneath my leg over here. Okay, Mr. Yellow, here we come. You're up. You're up. Are you ready for this? Sorry to wake you up from a nap. Make you feel like you're being picked on. But you gotta be the star of the show for a minute. So Mr. Yellow, at birth, he was 1.1 pounds, and right now is 7.58 pounds. So Mr. Yellow, he's top of the ranking when it comes to size for right now. So you gotta move my camera holder so I can see all of my notes. He had the double neck marking, and that is still prominent at this state. You can see that right there by my pinky, and so that's still there. That was prominent at birth and continues to be prominent now. He also had a chest dot, and that continues to be somewhat prominent right now. And we noticed he had a slightly marked groin, and right now I can see a few light hairs right there, but not very many with this coat density at this time. Mr. Yellow, he is middle of the road pup, just as sweet as can be. He's probably gonna say, how can I sit here for long enough and fall back to sleep and get my beauty rest? Excuse me, my voice is starting to wear out, so apologize for the cough there. So that is Mr. Yellow, and next we have Mr. Brown coming up. All right, Mr. Brown, you're up. Here we go. Here we go. So Mr. Brown at birth, he was 0.85 pounds. He is 6.37 pounds. So he's not the smallest of the boys. He is third, so kind of middle of the pack when it comes to size for the boys. He's at 6.37 pounds. He had the very, very slightest chest marking that we noticed at birth. Honestly, I am having a hard time seeing that right now. There may be just a handful of light hairs right here that I have to look at kind of sideways and change it for the glare of the light to even see that, but it's very slightly still there. And then his groin marking, I can't even see that right now. He had his very lightly marked back left toe. I can definitely see those toe markings there, but his back right toe that we were noticing at birth continues to be super, super light. There's only just a handful of white hairs there. So that is Mr. Brown as a middle of the road personality pup. So just as cute as can be, and he wants to go back to sleep. Look at that tired face. They're all tired. Yes, they are. Next, we have Mr. Orange. So at birth, Mr. Orange was 0.88 pounds, and right now he is 6.23 pounds. So he is second from smallest on the list. He's a middle of the road personality. He has the neck dot that we noticed at birth, and I can still see that right there. He had the very lightly marked groin, and I do not see anything with that right now. With this coat density, he continues to have heavily marked back left toes, very cute there, and the middle of his back right paw toes are marked on that side. So that is Mr. Orange. Very cute personality. I had his head up by mine while I was showing you his toes, and he got his kisses in on my face. So just sweet personalities. All of them have very good personalities. We're super happy with all their disposition and how well they're doing with their conditioning and acclimating to interactions with humans. And Mr. Orange is no exception at all to that. So last but not least, we got Mr. Gray. He is down here right by my foot. I have to get him without snagging his head underneath my leg. I think I got him. If you can wake up, Mr. Gray, it's your turn. You've had the longest nap, haven't you? Are you still feeling a little bit hungover from your snooze? Maybe. So at birth, Mr. Gray was 0.97 pounds. He is 7.47 pounds right now. So just barely edging out his spot as number 2 in size. And he has the chest dot that we noticed earlier. If you look there, that is visible right there. And then he had his heavily back left marked toes, and then his slightly back right toes marked. In some ways, I feel like Gray and Orange may have been twins just because of their markings. They're so close on their toe markings. They're very similar that way. But Mr. Gray, he is one of the top of the pack leaders right now. Confident, assertive, very smart, very loving, loves to hang out, be held by us, very comfortable with our interactions with us, and it's just very easy to handle and work with. Some of his siblings might not think that because he likes to throw his weight around right now, but he's definitely a very smart pup and very confident, assertive pup. So that is Mr. Gray, and that kind of rounds out the list for these 8 pups. We're just super pleased with how well Breezy has done with taking care of these pups. She has not missed a single step in this process. The weaning has gone really well. These pups have transitioned over to solid foods and regular foods and things like that. Breezy has not had any hiccups with any mastitis or nursing and things like that. Breezy still loves to visit the pups throughout the day and interact with them. Sometimes the moms get to a certain point where they're just like, nah, I'm done. But Breezy has continued to be very playful with them when she comes back in the room to visit with them. Now that they're basically fully weaned, Breezy still asks to come see them. She'll kind of whine and things like that until we bring her back in so she can check on her pups. So she's just done really good with the whole process. So exactly what we want to see from one of our mamas and how they take care of their pups. So anyways, this is the whole group. We've rounded out the whole video here. I hope this has answered the majority of your questions. We know with this many boys and how close they are in many respects, you may have a hard time narrowing it down. Let us know if you do have a hard time narrowing it down, and we can perhaps shed more light on any differences between them and see if we can't help you out that way. We know the decisions are not easy sometimes, but honestly, when it comes to this group of pups, they're so similar in so many ways. The spread of their dynamics is not far from one end to the other when it comes to personality, and even how they look and their coat colors, things like that. They're all pretty close. But let us know if you have any questions, and we hope you've enjoyed this video, and look forward to talking with you and helping you find which pup seems to be the right fit for your family. And we'll talk to you later. Thanks. These guys are all tuckered out. We got a few of them that are starting to wake back up. They're just as comfy as can be. Loving their nap times. Miss Pink is feeling like she's getting squished. And Mr. Red is going to work her way out. And some of these other pups might start waking up now that they've had that long of a nap to reset and recharge. Here comes Mr. Brown. He might just decide everybody's a good pillow. Well, I could keep going for hours just showing you videos, but we know that doesn't necessarily add. Oh, Mr. Orange is feeling picked on here. He's not quite the chew toy he was hoping to be. So, anyways, hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll keep in touch with you. Thank you.